Live from the studio of his parents' basement, the Have You Seen It podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Kraus. But before we begin, if you guys could please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. So with that said, Cash, what are we reviewing today?
Well, it is Snowmageddon here in Southwest Washington.
Absolutely.
We're getting our annual 3 days of snow that we get every once in a while.
And it does feel like it's 3 days of snow every year, and it's just a piss ton of snow, and then it goes away, and we never deal with it again.
No, but it does shut the entire state down when it's here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shuts our little town down, too.
Yeah, for sure. But it feels like we haven't met in a while, but there's a lot of stuff coming out. Yep. It's the end of the year push.
It is.
So anyone that ever even thought their movie could have a chance at Oscar or Golden Globe or anything is fucking saying we got to go today.
Getting that release.
And that's, of course, what this movie is. I mean, it's right up there for contention, at least for Golden Globes. But it's the new Aaron Sorkin directed and, of course, written. He would only write his own.
He does write the best dialogue.
Well, he's in love with his dialogue, that's for sure. He loves to hear his dialogue.
It is a staple of his films.
Yes, and
or
that
screenplays.
Is the new biographical film. This film has been in talks for years about who's going to do this, and that is Being the Ricardos, biographical film about Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz.
Yes. And I got to say, me and my wife are big I Love Lucy fans. We watch it quite a bit. And, you know, it's crazy, too, because we were watching I Love Lucy in preparation for this film. And we'll jump more into it. Obviously, there's not going to be spoilers because all this shit happened back in 1955. So, I mean, if you don't know the story, I guess this film will help you. But the very episode this whole film surrounded by, we got done with the film and we're like, let's watch I Love Lucy. Just went to the random episode, hit play. It was the episode for this whole.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
That's a really famous episode. What's this? Something 8? I can't remember.
It was season 1, episode 8, but in this one, it was like season 2.
But the name of it has something 8 in the name or something. I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't remember, but that is a very famous episode for sure. Because I know like Amazon has best of I Love Lucy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's in the first volume. That episode. And the grape smashing episode too, which is super famous.
It's iconic.
But yeah, I'm interested in hearing about what someone who really likes I Love Lucy. Of course, it's a cultural staple. I mean, I don't think anyone in America or anyone in the world that really doesn't know who Lucille Ball or I Love Lucy is.
Oh, absolutely. It was insane too, because you look at television nowadays, and again, this is nothing that I'm saying that was not brought up in the film, but this is a very important point to make. Is a TV show these days, Cash, that gets 5 to 8 million views every night or once a week is a huge deal. At the top of I Love Lucy, it was getting 60 million views every Monday night from 9 to 9:30. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, no one. TV will never be like that again.
No.
Because of what all the streaming and whatnot, and how everything is released now. It's 100 million people. The record still for most views ever is the season finale, the series finale of MASH.
Ooh, yeah.
Was 105.9 million people viewed it.
Wow.
Yeah, that was...
MASH was a huge deal, too.
Yeah, MASH was huge. Yeah. But like you said, you'll never... I mean, I think Game of Thrones maybe got close to that, but even then people were waiting to watch it until it was streaming somewhere.
Yes.
So you'll never get it like that. It's like they even said department stores stayed open late on Mondays, and they stopped around the country. They stopped staying late on Mondays because no one was going to department stores.
Changed it to Thursdays.
Because everyone was watching I Love Lucy on Mondays, which is just, yeah.
Could you imagine
restructuring
your business hours over a TV show?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing for sure. I mean, what did you think then, Mason, of this? Because this is it's the I Love Lucy biography that everyone was waiting to make. A lot of people.
Yes. So I will get to that. But first I want to talk about this because it has some significance. Cate Blanchett was initially announced to play
That's
Lucille
what I was going
Ball.
to ask, yeah. In 2015, I remember hearing about this. I mean, if you follow kind of film news, this has been in the works for a long, long time. I think David O. Russell was originally going to direct it. Then Aaron Sorkin picked it up. But like you said, Cate Blanchett, another Australian actress. For some reason, they were going Australian for Lucille Ball.
For Lucille Ball. Strange choice, but hey, whatever.
But yeah, Cate Blanchett was really, really into this. She really, really wanted to do it. Yeah. And like she's in love with Lucille Ball. She loves I Love Lucy. And she couldn't end up doing it because of scheduling, I think. Yeah.
But Nicole Kidman took the reins of Lucille Ball. And I guess she got, initially when this was announced, she got so much hate.
Controversial.
She contemplated whether or not she was going to take the role after the announcement.
Because Aaron Sorkin said very early on that he wasn't going for looks, he was going for talent. And that upset a lot of fucking people.
Yes,
and they did attempt to make Nicole Kidman look more like Lucille Ball in this, but I don't know. I don't think she looked exactly like her.
No, I don't think she did either. However, I thought her performance was really good. I thought she picked up a lot of the physicality of Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
Because she obviously dealt a lot in physical comedy with I Love Lucy, right? And I think she did her best to embody that. And I think a lot of people in this film actually did a really good job. J.K. Simmons, obviously, is William Frawley.
Yeah. He's the hardest worker in Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
The guy gets more roles than the fucking Rock.
He's in multiverses. He's just doing everything.
He's in everything.
He is.
And he's like really always small roles. He's in the Batman. He's been fucking, yeah.
But there was a thing that William used to do. The way he talked was as if like his chin, like he would come out like this and talk. And like J.K. Simmons literally like embodied that. Like he showed that on screen. And that was really cool because he had kind of a frumpy physique. Whereas like his hips were a little bit bigger and he'd walk like this. And J.K. actually did a really good job of that.
I think J.K. Simmons is the shining star in this. I think he kind of stole the show. I think even his dialogue, I don't know if it's how he delivered it, but I thought his dialogue was some of the best.
In the beginning was great.
The 7-year-old.
Yeah. What, he's a communist?
I don't care how old is he. I'll beat the shit out of him.
He's a communist.
What's he doing voting communist? He's like, no, he's 7. Yeah.
I know.
I really like J.K. Simmons in this, but yeah, I think Javier Bardem. He also doesn't really look like Denez, but
Desi,
Desi Denez, but he got the personality. I thought down pretty well, the charm and whatnot. Yep. But yeah.
Well, and Bardem, he's a charming individual to begin with, so I don't think it was too hard for him.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a huge Javier Bardem fan. He's amazing in everything.
Yeah. A lot of people had a problem with the timeline of this film because obviously it takes place over like a week, but really throughout Lucille Ball and Desi's career, like these were all the trials and tribulations.
That was another thing
they went through.
Yes, I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah. Also controversial was Aaron Sorkin kind of plays loose and fast with the facts in a lot of this. It is a fictionalized. Let's make that clear. Yeah. It takes place in a week, but the things that are going on happen over like a 2-year span, and they are, reducing it down to 1 week, which is hard to do, to reduce 2 years in 1 week.
And I will say, like, I was actually okay with it because I think timetables and like when you're trying to get a cohesive story out there, I think it would be really hard to like go back to 1955 and then jump to 58 and then go back to 56 to try to tell this whole story. And again, it's a biographical film, but it's not, as you said, it's not in line with the timeline.
Although weird enough, they do jump around in a non-linear fashion.
They do still. Yeah.
Which, like you're saying, you're right. It would be confusing, but it is kind of confusing. Even in this, it's kind of confusing, which I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that choice, I don't think, of jumping around because there was not enough to be like, oh, this is young Lucille Ball, because they were already doing prosthetics to make Nicole Kidman look like Lucille Ball, so they weren't going to add on another younger. So it's hard to tell when they're going back and forth at times. Yeah. But yeah, it's I don't know. I was hoping honestly that it was going to be more fun and more funny. Honestly, another controversial thing, because again, this was so talked about, was Aaron Sorkin came out early on and said that people today would not find I Love Lucy funny, and that got a lot of hate because a lot of people
find it funny.
Like you said, your wife is younger than both of us, and she loves it. Yeah, and it is still funny and absolutely funny. So people were really afraid that maybe he didn't understand I Love Lucy like some people would. Yeah. I thought he did a good enough job, but I was really hoping it would be funnier and I don't know. Like I said, more. I don't know if Nicole Kidman necessarily has the comedy chops that Lucille Ball has.
Well, of course not.
I know exactly.
Lucy was hilarious.
Exactly. Yeah. So in this film it's not. It's definitely. It's funny through dialogue, but it's not funny how I wish it was more of like a tilt to the hat of how they did it in the old days. I wish he almost shot it like that.
Well, and how revolutionary all of this was. I mean, Lucille Ball and Desi, and this is something, again, Aaron Sorkin does a really good job in the writing, kind of explaining the times of being in the 1950s and being in the 40s when they got married, right? But to have a, what's the word I'm looking for? Multiracial couple? Interracial, yeah, sorry. Yeah, interracial couple. It was the first time in history of television to have a interracial couple on TV.
Yeah.
And like it was because of Lucille Ball. It was because she pushed so hard to have
and I hope that's true. I don't know.
No, it is true. Okay, that is actually true. That's something I do know. She pushed for that.
Well, I assume there would be absolutely pushback of trying to get a Cuban man in the 40s for Philip Morrison, who is that's honestly my favorite part of this whole film. Was I like any film that goes back and kind of gives you a snapshot of what like it is on a studio and whatnot, how it is in the 40s and 50s. I always love that because I think it's so cool. But I thought Aaron Sorkin did a really good job of that. But yeah, there's definitely, absolutely, of course, was going to be pushback. Yeah. Philip Morrison, it's just so weird because they like the cigarette company had a huge stake
in I Love Lucy.
Because they did the advertisements before I Love Lucy, brought to you by Philip Morrison or whatnot. So they had a huge say in even today there's suits that have huge say, but it's not run by I don't know. It's not run by Walmart doesn't have a stake in Hollywood or whatever, right. but the cigarette company and Marlboro and every cigarette company and every company had a huge stake in these television shows because these television shows were the biggest kind of advertisement you can have. It's like advertising for the fucking Super Bowl every goddamn Monday of the week.
Yep.
So they had a ton to say, but that's what I thought was interesting was them having to clear everything with these guys that, of course, knew nothing about television at all.
No, of course not. I mean, and you have that. Guys justifying their jobs, these big executives still in television, but in a different capacity. But it's so funny that you bring up the whole Philip Morrison thing because I never noticed it. And then as soon as we're done with this film, we started watching I Love Lucy. And you see the advertisements in the background when Lucy goes out to the grocery shop or whatever, and you see just Phil
commercials.
Morrison.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I never even would have realized that. Outside of this film.
It's blatant now, but even back then,
because I don't know who Philip Morrison is. I didn't know there was a cigarette company.
Biggest cigarette company in the world. They fucking ran the world at one point when everyone smoked cigarettes. But yeah, it's so funny that they were so scared about getting anyone talking about the pregnancy, but everyone's smoking on TV.
Well, and then Lucille Ball knowing she's pregnant, and again, it's the time, so I don't hate her for this, but she's going out with William to the bar because they want to have a talk, and he pours her a shot at the bar, and she's drinking.
Yeah,
they don't know any better, so they're smoking and drinking, and it's so funny to see how the times have changed.
Yeah, I thought that was. Again, I like the snapshot of when it was taking place and whatnot, but yeah. Again, I thought it'd be funnier. There's definitely the hyperverbal Sorkin dialogue in this.
Absolutely.
That can almost be straining at times. Sometimes it's good, but it almost always has to be delivered really, really good because his dialogue is so quick and it's so fucking fast. But sometimes sometimes it almost feels canned and almost feels fake. Because most of the time, two people are not talking like that.
No.
They're not that fucking witty. They're not talking one after another. I mean, so it's every once in a while, it's like I said, it feels kind of fake to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like in a courtroom drama, like the Chicago 7 or whatever.
It works.
That's when it really works for me like that. But when it's two regular people, it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. And it works kind of throughout this film. There's sometimes during dialogue between the writers that always kind of felt canned to me especially when they're arguing about who made that joke first or whatever. I don't know.
That I do agree with. I think they got the relationships very well in this though, between Lucille Ball and Desi, and then obviously William and Vivian. because they share a lot of screen time together on I Love Lucy.
Vivian Vance has a whole side plot that
that
I don't know goes anywhere, but it's
about
there.
her losing weight, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
about her, and it's the first season, and she is hating her role. It's just not a good sign of like if you're. And I forgot Tony Hale is in this. He plays the executive producer, Oppenheimer, not the guy who invented the bomb.
Right? No, different Oppenheimer.
Unrelated. Would be funny though if he was like moonlighting as an executive producer.
It's like
when he's not killing millions of people. Hey, I love to make people laugh. Also,
but I also love to drop.
But I love to vaporize them. But yeah, Tony Hale is he's fucking awesome in everything, man.
Everything.
From 6 days.
9 days.
9 days, 9 days.
Yep.
Movie would have been a little shorter.
It would have been.
Hey, trim it up, I'm saying.
30 minutes, it was a 90-minute film. Let's make it an hour.
But yeah, man, he's gone from comedic actor to very serious, and he is, he's awesome. Yeah. He's awesome in everything. I really like the scenes between him and Nicole Kidman when she's asking him to save her marriage or whatever. And then she asked him to give Desi Arnaz the executive producer title, his title. And it's like, that's the kind of things I like. I love seeing the behind the scenes inner workings of Hollywood and what goes down. Because it's like those credits are all those fucking people have. I mean, it was
a much bigger deal.
It still is important, man. You get a credit in that could start your entire life. You know, you get into the industry, the guild or whatever. You get credit as a producer. People are always trying to search that first producer credit or whatever to get their foot in the door. But it's like, especially in TV, even today, the executive producer has a much larger role than they have on a film. Yeah. Like, executive producers are essentially the showrunners.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's what you see in this for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I like their scenes. I like their dialogue for sure between each other.
Yeah, it was good. It was great.
It gets emotional for sure.
It does.
It's a tough week.
But I also love seeing a different side. And this is where I agree with you, but I also enjoyed aspects of the more serious approach to this, because I really saw Lucille Ball in the comedic genius that she was, but she wasn't always on the same way that Robin Williams and all these incredible comedians aren't always on. She was also very business orientated and really respected the craft. And you could see that where she's calling William and Vivian in and saying, this scene isn't working, constantly fighting with the director, which I love those scenes when they find out that the guy's directing this episode, and they're
Glass,
like,
I think his name was, he's not a real director. Yeah.
But she's calling him in, and she's really working on the technicality of the physical comedy, and that's an aspect like Lucille Ball. You got to remember, this is the 40s, 50s. This is so groundbreaking. This is before women really had the same status or power as men. But she actually, in so many ways, revolutionized this industry.
Yeah, a lot of TV shows featuring women came after her for sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I thought that was really cool to see. But yeah, it was interesting to see the relationship between Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball for sure, because it's the 50s, man. No guy's not cheating on their wife.
Oh, dude,
no guy doesn't have two other families they're raising. Yeah. I mean, it's commonplace.
It is,
but it's always heartbreaking, and it's. To me, there's always heartbreaking to see any movie that takes place in the 50s or before. I mean, any place, really even before now, is any woman took a lot of fucking shit during that time, man. I mean, to get to any point of power, you had to, be molested, be fucking sexually. I mean, it's
all different types of horrific things.
No one was unscathed in fucking Hollywood, especially fucking women. So it's always very depressing to see. They don't really go that route too much in this one, but
they also foreshadow it throughout the episode. Obviously, with
I think she talks about getting raped at one point. Doesn't
I think
she?
So.
Yeah, I think by her family. Yeah, at one point, which is heartbreaking.
Awful. Yeah, but obviously with Desi cheating, I forget. It's so frustrating because I know what it is. It's something that starts with an I, but the paper that dropped about Desi, and did he ever really love Lucille Ball? You know?
Yeah.
And then it's obviously the picture of them 6 months ago at some party, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I know." But are the details in this article true of him, being caught with a prostitute?
And the details weren't true, but he was still cheating.
He was. Yeah,
he was. Unfortunately,
and I guess he cheated on Lucille Ball a ton.
Oh,
all the time.
Yes, like I said, there's You were rare to find. I mean, a giant Hollywood actor like Desi Arnaz. He ran
was
that
a ladies'
production
man,
company too. Oh, everyone says that was his thing. He was just so fucking charming. Like you said, he charmed the CEO Philip Morris.
Yep.
But yeah, it's we didn't even talk about the main plot. Really, it involves communism, of course.
It does. Yes.
This is like a week of, which did happen at one point during. I don't know if it was the first season or not. But there was
communism stuff was not the first season. I want to say it was late into the second.
I think
third
second season. Yeah, I think it was definitely early on into the run of the series. But there was a point to where everyone was scared that the show might be canceled because the House Committee Against Un-American fucking whatever blah blah blah. They were hunting down people and putting them on blacklists. And then Lucille Ball, I don't know if this is true or not, but she checked a box of the Communist Party 20 years before she was in.
Yeah. She was young, too. I think she just turned 18 and did it.
Well, because she did it because her fucking grandpa was like for the worker or a socialist or something like that. So she did it like as soon as she could vote, she did it for her grandpa. And then never did it again.
Mm-hmm. Never, yeah.
Never went to like a meeting or anything.
Nope.
Other than check the box, but they were so scared she was going to fucking spread that communist.
Well, they called that I believe it was the Red Scare back then, too. So it was a very big deal where they were fighting against communism.
Yeah, when they were fucking blacklisting anyone for neighbors were selling out neighbors. It was a crazy time. But so many people were blacklisted in Hollywood for that. But yeah, I guess at one point, in this time, it's only done through like a week, though. So it's a crazy week. I mean,
super crazy.
One day,
that's going
she's
on,
a communist. And then 2 days later, completely cleared.
How crazy is it? Because we always joke around about this asshole. Edgar J. Hoover. He made a little cameo.
Which is not fact. That did not happen.
Oh, it didn't?
No.
Oh, okay. But it was funny nonetheless.
It was funny.
Because it goes, and who is this? It's Hoover.
Who was this? This is J. Edgar. Yeah. Don't ever call me again. Yeah.
Don't waste my time.
Trust me, J. Edgar was not taking calls from Desi Arnaz to clear his
on live television. Oh, let's go back to that, actually. Yeah.
It was before they started shooting,
yes,
so it wasn't like they're playing it live.
But I do want to talk about that because you had brought it up briefly, and that's something that I really appreciated about this is the behind the scenes of Hollywood in the 40s and 50s, and something that I didn't even realize because I watch Lucille Ball all the time and I Love Lucy, was they had a live band there to record every single song. And or not every song, but the intro to I Love Lucy, it was a live band, a live studio audience. It was really a spectacle and an event.
Oh, yeah. Live tapings still are kind of a event, especially if it's a really popular show like that or whatever. Like Seinfeld, I'm sure was,
huge.
They have someone come out. There's like an MC that he ramps the crowd up all the time. I mean, it is. I would love to go to. They're probably going to be dying out. I mean, eventually at some point. So I'd love to go do a live. They have them every day in fucking California. I mean, they shuffle those fucking people
especially game shows, bro.
But the worst would be like a Big Bang Theory where someone's has a gun on the audience.
Yeah, you're like, laugh.
I want to go home.
Dude, and they make you laugh every 3 seconds in that show.
But it's a laugh track too, so I don't know. It's probably not mostly recorded.
God, that'd be so frustrating though.
Yeah,
because it would be so stupid. They would walk into a door. That show got so bad that at one point
I haven't seen very many. I did not want to go on this tangent.
I tried to get on it for a little while, but I couldn't do it because he'd walk in and be like, "I'm here."
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, God dang, I can't do this anymore. Fuck.
Yeah, imagine being in the audience. Yeah, but I agree. It is cool. It is always cool to see behind the scenes for sure. Especially this is the golden age of Hollywood. I mean, it is the golden age of Hollywood. But yeah, it's cool to see that Lucille Ball was also struggling. I mean, first season again. I don't know if this probably didn't happen the first season. Probably later on, but she wanted to jump into serious roles as well, and
said she was too old.
She got in the game too late. Yeah. 35, it's a Hollywood 39.
Okay. Yeah, it really is. It really is. I know it's so, and that's another thing too, to look at kind of the sexism of these early 40s and 50s was the fact that older women couldn't lead in film
it's still
unless
very
they were
much
young.
true in Hollywood. I mean.
in some ways, but I think it's a lot better now. I mean, you look at like women like Meryl Streep, obviously.
Well, because there's just more roles for women now. So there's going to be bound to be roles for older women as well, for sure. But yeah. Oh, for sure. Especially back then. I mean, yeah, it was like the porn industry. Once you're 30, you're a MILF and no one wants to see that shit.
You don't have a career anymore. Yeah.
I know. Get the fuck out of here. And, but still, she had a massive fucking popular show, but she really never did make the jump to drama.
Yeah. I really went down the rabbit hole, too, with Lucille Ball. I started watching her on game shows. I started doing the history. 1964, she was on this game show, and she brought on her new husband, because obviously...
Well, that was so fun. That was when
Desi,
big celebrities went on game shows. Like Celebrity Bowling had like I go back and watch Celebrity Bowling in the 70s. They have like the biggest stars of the fucking day. Bowling. Yeah. Bowling. But it was like, TV again. We grew up in a time when TV, the 80s, 90s was looked down upon. If you were going to be a star, you need to be a star in film. It's coming back now for sure, where you can be a big star and still be in TV.
Oh, absolutely.
But back then, it wasn't looked down. These were the biggest stars in the world.
Yeah. And like the game show, like brought on her new husband. His name is slipping my mind, but they named both their children Lucy and Desi Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And they were on the game show, too.
Well, Lucille Arnaz was an actress. She's pretty famous.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, Desi did some work, too.
She's still alive, Lucille Arnaz.
And same with Desi Jr., too. They're both still alive. Yeah. I think he's 68 and she is 70 or 69.
They both, well, at least Lucille Arnaz saw this film and said she loved it. So,
oh, well, that's good.
Take that.
Yeah.
I guess if you're, for sure, if you want. Yeah, if someone's going to do a movie of your mom, it's a good at least you enjoy it. Yeah. But, she loved it. Her other husband was Gary Morton.
Gary Morton.
Yep. Yeah. They, Desi Arnaz and them divorced in 1960.
That was literally right after I Love Lucy was done. They got a divorce. I think
20 years though is pretty long in Hollywood.
It is long, but she knew about his infidelity.
Probably the first year.
Yeah, years before this show was canceled, or ended, I should say.
Oh well, you see at the end a little glimpse of that is where she goes, "Just forget we talked about it. Let's just go out there for half an hour." You got to assume the last 10 years were probably just...
The working relationship was strictly...
Not even that, they hardly ever saw each other. I like that aspect of showing that is like...
He went to the boat 5-6 days a week to go play cards.
Yeah, with Red Skellington, which is a big star.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that the part that I didn't even think was needed was when they would they hired people to play like the older versions as well.
That's what I wanted to bring up too. And then I was like, those people are dead. I know they're dead.
They're not the real people.
Why?
They're not the
why
real.
Why are we doing this?
They're not the real people at all.
Yeah. I didn't need that.
At first I was almost thinking maybe these are real people. That would be kind of cool. No, actors to play the real.
No, I knew right away because again, there's no way they would be alive in the 50s as full-grown adults. They'd be 100.
I don't know when was that taking place in 2009?
Well, the interviews? Yeah, it would have been 20 years ago.
Why have that though?
I don't know. That was a strange choice for this. I totally agree. And that's something that me and Mary talked about. I was like, why did they do that? Why not just, it doesn't make any sense.
It would have been cool to put Lucille Arnaz on there to say something or something like that. Just to kind of talk about because she would have saw their parents probably do the best years. I mean, but no, they had fake people play. They had fake people play Jess Oppenheimer
and
the writer.
The writer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Odd choice
strange.
For sure.
Very strange.
Definitely an odd choice. But yeah, married 20 years. That's pretty long.
Madeline
long time.
Pugh was the writer.
Madeline Pugh. Yeah. At some times you would only think there was two writers on the show because they did an inside writers room where there was only two people or not. There's no way that's true. No. I mean, there would have been a ton of people probably on the show.
I did love the inner workings of the show too, and how Monday was the episode, Tuesday was table read, Wednesday was blocking, Thursday. I love that.
So do I.
I love that. There's something magical.
Break
about
for
putting
lunch,
it all
come
together.
back for notes. I love. Yeah. You know what they call a bathroom on set is
the loo.
A Lucy and a Desi. Yeah, when you go to the bathroom, Lucy is for girls and Desi is for. I mean, that's how big these guys were. I mean, there's an actual term for them. Yeah. So, I always like that stuff too.
And say I've never used that on any of the sets I was on.
No.
Lucy. I need to go to Lucy. I need to go to the Desi.
I don't know. They'd probably be pretty impressed though if you
They
did.
would be. They would.
This 9-year-old.
He's
knows
pretty intelligent.
a lot about the golden age of Hollywood. Yeah, they would have respected it, man.
They would have. I should have known this.
They would have been like, hey, make this kid a star. I like
Lead role.
This kid's got something. Yeah. We need an Anakin.
Yeah. I'm like, yes, please.
But
I probably would have ended up better than that kid.
I think you dodged a bullet, man. You would have gotten death threats. That kid is a mess.
I know. But if anyone could handle death threats, it's me.
I don't know. I think that kid's in an insane asylum
he
right
is.
now. I think he's
or he
locked up.
was at one point. It's not good. It's not good for the kid. I pray for him every day.
You have to.
Pray for little Annie.
You have to. I'm still sending him death threats.
Oh, well.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting film. I was hoping it was really going to be really amazing. It was good, but it just wasn't. It wasn't just amazing, you know. I was really hoping if we're gonna get Lucille Ball, then we're gonna get a really big time Lucille Ball kind of.
I am biased towards this film.
I know you are.
I don't think it was amazing, but I definitely do not think this was bad at all. And I found myself, I enjoyed the film. It's obviously not my favorite work of Aaron Sorkin, obviously, because I gave Trial of the Chicago 7 my number one film of 2020. But
yeah, I don't think Aaron Sorkin's going to do a bad film ever. I mean, at this point,
but this was very enjoyable for me. I enjoyed this. I wouldn't give it an A or an A+, but it sits right at a B for me. Like I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I think he is. Well, Trial of Chicago 7 was good, and he directed that too.
Yeah,
he's clearly,
awesome.
I mean, one of, if not the best screenwriter in Hollywood. I don't know.
And has a long resume of being that.
I know, but I don't know yet if he's the best director in Hollywood.
And that's definitely a fair point. But the writing speaks for itself over the course of his career.
Yeah, he's awesome, and he has an amazing master class too.
He does, yes.
He really is a master, man. He is, and I'm sure he loves writing about anything that's like old Hollywood. When there's so many great screenwriters getting kicked out of Hollywood for being communist, but
right. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yes, it is. All right, Mason.
Anything else, Cash?
You can watch this now on Amazon Prime, streaming for free. You don't have to go to the movies.
Nope. Alrighty, well, that is our review for Being the Ricardos. If you guys like what you've seen here, please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause, and until next time.
Bye.